Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be ranking every single Velociraptor design that has ever been seen in the Jurassic franchise. All right, pretty self-explanatory, not much of an intro needed. So we're just going to jump right on in, starting off with the original Jurassic Park Velociraptor. Now, obviously, this is the founding design, the big one, so to say. But take those nostalgia glasses off real quick. Just take them off and look at this. This design is buns. All right, this design sucks, okay? However, before you start hating, let me make this clear, okay? The Raptors in a movie are cool, yes. They're terrifying, maybe? Yes. But the design, no. Design is a no, okay? Look at this thing. I'm pretty sure a toddler could have come up with something more creative than this. It's literally just a blob of tan, a little bit of white, and a little tiny bit of black, which later on, you're going to see it looks really good, but on this, it's just basic. It's just really basic. It is iconic, but it is overall pretty basic. You cannot lie. You cannot look at me with a straight face, unless your name is John, and tell me that this design goes anywhere above C tier. However, I will give credit where credit is due. It is the founding design, you know, so most other designs kind of, I guess, come off from this one. They kind of branch off. They branch off from this one. So I'm not going to put it too low, but I am still putting it in D tier. And we are going to move on to the Lost World male Velociraptor. Now, this is how you do a Velociraptor. I can't lie to you. First off, like I said previously, all right, you got a little white, you got the black, and you have like the tan. However, this just looks so much cooler, dude. The tiger stripe raptors are awesome. And I'm kind of sad we haven't really seen them in any new movies. I mean, maybe a little, which we'll get to that later, but like, this exact design, not really. It is a really good design, I can't lie to you. I really like the tiger stripes. I mean, how they were portrayed in the movie, like how they looked in a movie was pretty cool. I mean, I guess obviously the main point of this design is the stripes, which is why it's so cool. But if I had any complaints about it, I would say maybe make the stripes a little bit darker so they kind of contrast more. And maybe, no, just make the stripes a bit darker and you have a near perfect design. However, I am going to have to put it into A tier because I do think there are some designs that are better than this. And if you think otherwise, go ahead, correct me in the comments how I'm wrong. But we're going to have to put this one into A tier because on one hand, it is a really good design. However, there are a few designs that I think are slightly better than this. And those are going to be the ones up in S tier. So we're going to put this into A tier. And we're going to move on to the other Velociraptor design from the same movie. That being the Lost World female raptors. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This is just a worse version of the male Lost World Velociraptor design. I mean, you still got the stripes, but they're even lighter, so you can't really see them. And that's about it. All right, it's mostly the same color. Nothing really interesting going on other than the tiger stripes, which you can see less of. So it's literally just a dimmed down version of the previous one. So obviously its ranking would be dimmed down. But at the same time, I do get it, because, you know, if you have male and female, obviously they're going to look pretty similar and only have a few key differences, but in the next movie, they're going to just take that to an extreme. We're going to put the female Lost World Raptors into C tier, because there's not really anything special about them, but they are better than the Jurassic Park designs, I will say that. So we're going to put them into C tier, and we are going to move on. And we are going to move on to the Jurassic Park 3 male Velociraptors, also known as Quilliams, or just Quilliam. Honestly, this is a really good design, okay? It's completely the opposite colors from what we've seen previously. Well, not opposite, but like it's just darker. All the other Raptors were kind of light in color, and this one's pretty dark. And also, it has quills, okay? This is like essentially the closest we have come to a feathered Velociraptor in the Jurassic franchise. Obviously excluding Pyroraptor, even though it isn't a Velociraptor, it's a Pyroraptor. So one of the only designs, one of the closest we've gone to a feathered raptor in the Jurassic franchise. However, not only that, the little red mark it has on its crest, that's really cool. All right, I mean, I don't know why. Like if you took that red off, the design would not look as cool, but having the red on definitely helps with the design. That little white stripe we have going on, it is pretty cool. It is a pretty cool stripe, and it also maybe is the inspiration for another design coming up later, but no, not maybe. There's no way they didn't look at this design and say, yo, yeah, let's do that, but a different color, which you'll see when we get to them. However, I can't lie, this is definitely an A or an S tier ranking. I don't know. It is real. We're putting it into S tier. We are putting it into S tier because of the quills. If it didn't have quills, it would be going into A tier. But it does, so it goes into S tier, and we're going to move on to the Jurassic Park 3 female raptors. Now, this one's kind of different because, like I said in Lost World, the female raptors were kind of just toned down, but this one's just completely different. Like, the male versions are completely black, and these ones are white. I mean, they're kind of like, they're similar to this tiger stripe ones, where they have, like, black stripes, except for they're going horizontally instead of vertically. So they do look pretty cool, and obviously, just obviously just a plain white raptor with a little bit of stripes on it. I mean, it works really well. And then also the red eyes, that kind of plays into it. So granted, it does look really cool, but it kind of has the same problem as the Lost World male raptors, in which the black isn't really dark enough. It's still, it's like brownish black, unless I'm colorblind. Looking at it now, it's like brownish black. Maybe, again, if they just made it a little bit darker, it would stand out a little bit more. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe they didn't want it to stand out too much, but who knows? Who knows? We're going to put it into B tier. It's a good design, but it's not beating the Tiger Raptors. So we're going to move on to the next dinosaur. Now, we're going to play a little game with this one. I'm going to put two dinosaurs up on screen. One of them is Charlie from Jurassic World, and the other one is Delta from Jurassic World. Go ahead, comment down below which one you think is which. I'll give you a second or two. And your second or two is up, all right? So the one on the left is Delta, and the one on the right is Charlie. There is barely any differences. Well, okay. Grown up, there's a few differences. Well, no. Grown up, they look very similar. But as babies, obviously you can see the difference better. But in the actual Jurassic World movie, no one's able to tell these two apart. I can't lie to you. Now, looking at them as babies, you can kind of see a little bit more clearly. Delta has kind of like black stripes or maybe dark blue stripes on her legs, and that's about it. And then we'll get to Charlie next up, but just looking at Delta. First off, its design looks very similar to another one, which wouldn't be a problem if they were in different movies, but they're in the same movie, and it's dark outside, so you can't really tell which one's which automatically brings it down a tier or two. But then, adding on to that, it's just not that good of a design. Like, you have dark gray, dark blue with darker blue or darker gray. That, I don't know, it just doesn't look that good. I can't lie to you. And honestly, we're going to have to put Delta into D tier, mostly because it starts with a D, but also just because the design fits into D tier. So we're going to put it into D tier, and we're going to move on to Charlie. Now, Charlie is a little bit better. It is a little bit better because it's a bit brighter color, and also the stripes are different, so it kind of helps you to figure out which one's which. But I do like Charlie's design a bit more than Delta's, mostly because, one, it's green. A green raptor is cool. We haven't gotten it. Well, this was like the first time we gotten a green raptor. And also the green stripes on the back. But this, again, the same problem with Delta is that you can barely see them, and you can't notice them if it's dark outside, which it was for most of the movie that you saw these guys. So it's a decent design. Not decent. The green is cool. I like the green. But the stripes, they like barely do anything. They should have, I don't know. Honestly, hear me out on this one. It would have been cool instead of having these dark green stripes that we have, if they made them like white or something. That would have made it stick out a bit more. However, they didn't do that. They just did green on green, which looks kind of boring. So we're going to put it into C tier because, one, again, it starts with a C. Charlie, C tier, kind of matches. And then also, at the same time, it is better than Delta's, but it's not an amazing Velociraptor design. So we're going to put it into C tier, and we're going to move on to Echo. Now, Echo is a bit different of a story. I could always tell Echo apart from the others, mostly because it's not green. It has like a little bit of bluish green on it, but it's not mostly green. You have yellow and green, which is that green? It's like turquoise, maybe green, and like orangish or yellow, which together they kind of work well. I don't know, it's like a tropical looking raptor, if you get what I'm saying, which I guess most raptors would be tropical because they lived on Isla Sorna or Isla Nublar, which are tropical islands, so it makes sense. But this, I don't know, there's just something about Charlie. Not Charlie, my bad. Echo, something about, see, that's how confusing these raptor designs are. I'm confusing them even though I have the script written right in front of me telling me which one this is. But I mean, Echo is pretty good looking. It's definitely better than the previous two. It's not terrible, but it's not like amazing either. So, I don't know, this one's kind of tough because looking at it, I mean, It's like kind of like tiger stripe. It has like the tiger stripes, and also it kind of has like the delta stripes on its legs. So I don't know. It's kind of like a mix of two different raptors, which looks kind of cool. You know what? We're gonna put it into B tier because the tropical vibe is pretty cool. We're gonna put it into B tier, and we are going to move on to the next raptor, which some people might say was overshown. Oh yeah, overshown. All right, they kind of use this raptor too much. And that Velociraptor is blue. Now, obviously, it's an iconic design, but just because it's iconic doesn't mean it's good. Literally, just take gray, add a blue stripe, and that's essentially it. You got blue Velociraptor right there. Now, if you want to get practical and be called a John, you could technically say that one of the eyes has blue around it and the other one doesn't, which, fantastic. That's amazing that you noticed that, but does that really add anything to its design? Not really. Most people probably wouldn't notice that unless they were told like you just were, or unless you are a big fan of the Jurassic franchise. Now, if you are, go ahead and subscribe. We're trying to hit 10K before end of the year, and I'm definitely going to be making more Jurassic content in the future, along with other types of videos. So go ahead and subscribe. Going back with blue, this design is also just kind of buns. I mean, the blue looks cool, don't get me wrong. And I don't really know what else they could do to make this design better, but it's kind of like, I feel like if it was only in Jurassic World, then yeah, it would look good. But it's like, it was in 3 movies, dude. It just kind of gets old, which also diminishes its value as a design because we've seen it so much. So we're gonna put blue into C tier because it's decent, but it's not terrible and it's not good. It was definitely overplayed. So we're gonna put it into C tier, and we're going to move on to a relatively unknown Velociraptor design. That being the Mantah Corp Velociraptors, or Camp Cretaceous. Now, I wouldn't blame you if you have no clue what I'm talking about, alright? They essentially appeared in Camp Cretaceous, and that's about it. Now, these are like the worst Velociraptor designs in the entire franchise. Literally, just take brown and apply it to them, and that's about brown, maybe tan, and just apply it to them, and there's your raptor design. Literally, I don't think there's anything special about these Velociraptors. It's like you took like a coloring book, I guess you could say, and just colored in with like brown, and that's essentially what you got here. And obviously, it doesn't look too good. It is definitely the worst Velociraptor design out of the entire franchise. So, because of that, it obviously has to go into F tier because it's the worst Velociraptor design. And also, technically, there's also another Velociraptor design in Chaos Theory, but I'm pretty sure it's just this model but reused. So Chaos Theories would also go into F tier. Chaos Theory, Mantah Corp, Camp Cretaceous, whatever you want to call them, they're going to F tier, and we are going to move on to the latest Velociraptor design, that being Jurassic World Rebirth's Velociraptor. Now, I'm pretty sure this one is a male because it has quills, and also it looks very similar to the Jurassic Park 3 male Velociraptor. However, I can't tell which one's better. Because on one hand, obviously they have a dark body, you know, they have quills on their head, and they have a very colorful face. However, I don't know, I like this one a bit more. Even though it was barely shown off in the movie, and it was kind of just fodder for another dinosaur to kill it, but something about like the design, something about like the little yellow, the little red, and the little blue on its face just makes it look kind of cool. And then also you have the stripes on its back, which again are subtle. You can barely tell, but if you pay close enough attention, you can tell. Which I guess you could tell with Delta and Charlie too, but I guess you just take the Jurassic Park 3 male raptor design, you kind of tweak it a little, and you got this thing. But can't lie, it is a good design. It is a good looking Velociraptor design, and I kind of want to put it into S tier. I also kind of want to put it into A tier. I feel like us barely seeing it is kind of boosting it. Like if we actually saw it in action, then it might have gone a little bit lower. So I don't know. This one's also a tough one because it is a good design, but it's also a Jurassic Park 3 male Velociraptor design. So no, we're gonna put it into S tier because like the face kind of looks like the tiger Velociraptors from the Lost World, the male tiger Velociraptors from the Lost World. It's essentially, I figured it out. Okay, this one looks like a mix between the Lost World's male Velociraptor and Jurassic Park 3's male Velociraptor, which both of those together look pretty cool. So we're going to also put this one into S tier. And that is the end of today's video. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Again, we're trying to hit 10K before the end of the year. But in case you don't do that, and in case I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.